Good day, Nigeria. Welcome to Qalam News Analysis at noon, where we connect the dots between national headlines and local realities. I am Gift Okhagbuzo, and I have Mr. Muhammad Mansour Ibrahim joining me on today's news analysis, where we want to talk on the national headlines and how it affects us in Auchi. So, good day, Mr. Muhammad.
Our listeners, good day and welcome on board, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mansour. Now, today we want to examine a brainstorm literally and figuratively. On one hand, the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, and that's NiMet, has issued a 3-day thunderstorm and rain alert expected to affect several states, including Edo State. On the other hand, right here in Auchi, we are witnessing the worst erosion crisis in recent memory, and that is the Water Tanker Road Gully, which has already swallowed over 20 buildings and cut off more than 100 families from their homes. Now, this is not just weather. This is a test of our urban planning, of our environmental foresight, and even the governmental will. Now, NiMet's recent advisory isn't just routine. They forecast strong winds, the flooding, and even thunderstorms, particularly in storm-sensitive zones like Auchi in Edo State. And what do they recommend? They recommend that you should stay indoors, we should unplug appliances, and also avoid flooded roads and keep tabs on their official website. But here is the issue. Warnings without coordinated response mechanisms don't save lives or even property. The first question we'll be asking, or the first thing we want to be analyzing today, is how well are NiMet's early warnings integrated with real-time community response systems at the local government level and even the state level, and how are residents in erosion-prone areas like Auchi actually receiving and using these alerts?
Is it a question?
Yes, it is.
I think as a people, let me just start again. Good afternoon, and we are welcome on board this Qalam Radio once again. NiMet are doing their work, like you just said. And the question again, how responsive are we to NiMet's warnings?
Yeah, especially at the local government.
Especially at the local government level. You understand? Well, I will say we are here today. We are seeing what is happening, because if actually we are responding to the warnings, most of all this issue you mentioned wouldn't have happened, because even last year, situations like this were about around December. Even since December, they were warning people about there will be massive rain and it will be flooding. So what effort are we taking? I think the ministry or the local government has information unit. Beside the Ministry of Environment, there is information unit, who ordinarily they have what you call OB van, out of broadcast van, where they use loudspeaker to be telling people, clear your gutters, clear. Do they clear gutters? Look at the one close to us here. You understand? The slab that used to cross into the school has blocked for how many years? They've not come to through it. And you understand? And these are works of local government, clearing drainages. So how have they done their job? Anyway, I see them carrying refuge all over, which that one is also an environmental disaster. But how often do they clear drainages? How often do they make information available to the people? No, NiMet have done their own. Now we are narrowing it out to local government. Local government, environmental, Ministry of, or Department of Environment, what are you doing? They were supposed to collaborate with the Department of Information, where they have those loudspeaker or OB van. They go around the community, tell the people that this is what the announcement that has been sent down. So people should mind, they should create way for water. Because if you don't create way for water, water will create its way.
Of course.
That's why you see those erosions. And we are not talking about, and these are areas that, is that true? We have what you call it, we used to plant trees. Come to think of it these days, even the new environments, new settlements, there are no trees. In those days, hardly you come to a home, there's no economic tree, either mango, pear, avocado, this palm tree, coconut, name them.
Yeah.
All these edibles, even kola nut trees. So what is wrong with our senses these days? And most of all these trees are windbreakers. How much more all these flowers we used to buy and plant, this masquerade, malina, you understand? Name them. So what are we doing? I think we have to call on the local government. If they are asleep, let them be awake, because we saw what happened last year, how areas were flooded, how water bands were overflooded, how houses were, you understand, how erosion degrade an environment. Come to think of it again, we are in an environment that the soil is a sandy soil.
Yeah.
All this area, so it doesn't have much moisture. It's not strong enough to hold water.
Yeah.
So that's why you see little water, we drain it. And what are the causes of all these things? Excessive use of the land. You understand? We just talk about no planting of this, no grassing. In those days, we live on top grass. We won't go and lie on them. Green grass.
Also.
You understand? So even schools now, look at the school nearby us now. Where is the grass?
No.
It's even threatened by erosion. So I think there's need for the local government to speeding up their preparation so that this water, this rain coming will not create another news for us. Even though we are here to announce, but we want to announce positive news.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mansour. Now, just like we said, NiMet announced or predict 3 consecutive days of thunderstorm and rain beginning today through Wednesday. For some, it sounds like just another forecast, but for communities, just like Mr. Mansour have said, in Auchi, we are not just it's not just a weather forecast, it is a ticking emergency. That's the line between the seasonal rainfall and even the systemic disaster upload, thanks to years of the poor drainage, the unchecked gully erosion, and even the community level vulnerability. Now, just like you said, Auchi is grappling with several gully erosion, especially in areas like Igbe Road, the Otaru Road, even the Water Tanker Road, and even the surroundings also. The soil is loose, like you said, the roads, even they are cracked, and the roams teeter on the edge of dangerous drop-offs. A few years ago, we saw the torrential rainfall that created a massive chasm that, literally swallowed part of a major access road, cutting off entire neighborhoods, especially when you're going towards Okhagbuzo area. Now, in this context, a 3-day thunderstorm is not really a weather update. It is a forecast of, potential displacements, the infrastructural collapse, and even the loss of lives. Now, with this level of environmental fragility, as Edo State, Edo State now, not even the local government, as Edo State really developed a disaster risk plan specific to erosion-prone areas like Auchi. I know there are others in Benin City, but from the state, is there any any disaster risk plan when it comes to erosion?
I would say there is, because as at last year, between October 28 and November 24, 2024, the displacement track matrix, in collaboration with the National Agency Emergency Management, that is NEMA, then the Edo State Emergency Agency SEMA, and the Nigerian Red Cross, brought out a statistics about 16 locations in Edo State that were impacted by flood, and also how they take relief to that area. So if between November last year and now, it's just about 7 months or 8 months, so we've not learned our lesson. And over how many localities, like we say, about 16 localities, and people were taken to IDPs because of flood. So if, as at last year, we've not improved of what we did, definitely we are not prepared. But I must say, those state government is prepared, because if 7 months ago they handled this problem, so definitely they should be prepared for another one this year, because it's an annual event. And then it affected only 5 local government. And over 100 or about 170 something thousand people were affected. So I think by now they should be preparing. But my own is that, like, you first of all ask, how aware are the people locally? The people are mostly not aware. Look at it, we just got it now. There's supposed to be an announcement as a work of the the information department or the local government. Announcement going on in the localities, telling people what to do, to stop dropping refuse in the waterway, then give waterway. The other thing is that the government should come up with a good enlightenment program for the people. Okay. Then how to build, because even when there are new sites under construction, you hardly see constructions of drainages going on. Without drainages, water will surely find its way. Then we have issues of this modernized corrugated iron sheet we are using, the Chinese and the German roofing. In those days, our roofing are not so tall, but look at the way it is now. It pours water heavily, and that one eroded the surface layer of the soil, which bring heavy erosion. We don't know how to plant grass again, like I told you, so this one is a big challenge.
Okay. Well, we know we're talking about NiMet and prediction, but I really want to dwell more on home and how it affects us.
Yes, now, like we said, those 5 local governments. Look at the statistics here. They said about 42,284 individuals. You understand? And it affected 7,656 households. That was then. That was last year. About between November and October. This is just the statistics that we got. So we don't know what will happen now. So I think these are early warning signals, and the essence of this type of warning is to prepare ahead. So if we had this type of thing, even if we're supposed to have, definitely we should have less now. We're supposed to be having less since we had handled it last year.
True. Okay, now we know that Auchi isn't just another town that is faced with this menace. It is, Auchi is one of the second largest urban center in Edo State. Yes, yeah. And one of the Nigeria's fastest growing communities is something that we all can testify to. But rapid development over time, there's outplaced this infrastructure. Just like you said, farmlands are now residential zones, and roads are built without drainages, and the result of all of this is erosion, water gully in all some of our communities or localities, as the case may be. Now, the infamous Okhagbuzo erosion, I know as at last month we did a survey. Yes, we did a survey, and we saw some parts that were badly affected.
That is off Waraka Road.
Yes. Now, we did a survey, and thank God you went for that survey and you saw how it was. Now, for our listeners, you want to see how bad the water gully is in the water tanker road. You can just check our YouTube page, and you see the video of how we've been affected from this erosion crisis that Auchi is always facing when it comes to the raining season. Now, from that video or from that survey, we saw that it will cost over 5 billion naira to fix an intervention, that could have been far cheaper if handled early. Now, here comes even an deadlier menace. That's the water tanker road erosion that's now stretching over the 6 kilometers with branching side gullies. Just like we saw, over 20 buildings in that locality were destroyed, and 50 more are threatened. Now, 100 plus families will be displaced, and they will be unable to access their homes. Now, this is no longer, just like you said, it's no longer an environmental issue. It is a humanitarian crisis. Now, with the water tanker road erosion going, that's growing daily, what emergency response frameworks does Edo State have in place to support displaced families beyond these engineering solutions? Are
they even aware? Have they come to assess it? That is one other thing. We've not seen their handiwork. We were supposed to have seen. We've been hearing that there will be responses. I think the first thing is that the community should have to swing into action now. You understand? First of all, those living within the area needs to be evacuated, because their gully is getting expanded every day. You understand? And the first challenge I saw during my survey of that area was that the major road, that is the Waraka Road, there was no even a drainage system or what do you call a gutter constructed along the road. So now give way to water flooding from the road, even crossing the road to the other side. So those were the major challenges. Then the other thing I see that is bringing more challenges to the erosion here is that almost all the houses in that area, there is no gutter drain in between the house and the road. Wow. So everybody just channel water from his house inside the road to the road. So this, and considering the nature of the road is sandy, you understand? It could be easily be eroded when the water, because if there are 100 houses in that lane and everyone channel his water from the house into the road and there's rain, tell me, where is it going to? Definitely wash out the surface of the soil, and it will be washing it gradually. As it is washing it, so it will be affecting houses. We are talking of livelihood, and it's no longer environmental problem. It's now a human crisis. It's a human disaster. Somebody has been pulled out of his house. The house has collapsed. House is built with millions of naira. House has collapsed into this thing. That land cannot be used again. So that we're telling ourselves, the house is no longer habitable. And more are still under threat. So what are we talking? It's an emergency situation beyond what you can, because it's not a farmland. If it's a farmland, I say no more cultivation there. Now this is residential environment. And this as a result of early warning signals that we never we ignored. Most houses are still there under threat. That's why I was so happy you said people should go to our YouTube channel and Google water tanker road erosion. They will see it, how big and how threatening it is. So these are the challenges. There's need for the local government to come and see. I doubt if they have seen it.
Now you talked on the need for those people to be evacuated. Now, if you tell them to leave, where are you placing them next? Where should they stay? Where would they put on?
That is why the government has to come in. It's the IDP.
Is there even a vast area where
that is not your own problem now, because somebody automatically have been displaced. That is automatic. So what else? They have to get a makeshift. If they don't have families and friends to hang on with, how long would they hang on with family and friends? It's not a solution. But the government can provide a temporary solution. While people have maybe a lease of life, they start looking for where they can resettle. But it's a threatening. I saw a house that the vehicle was locked inside the gate, inside the yard. Or there's no road that vehicle can come out. No how. And already between the house and the gully erosion site, there's already a threat. So what are we talking about?
That's very, very bad. That's very, very bad. Now, we're still talking on how it affects Auchi, especially the Waraka Road residents. Now, at that period, we heard, we saw that engineer Imona from the Ministry of Regional Development, recently visited that same survey site that we went to. He was accompanied by the village heads and local leaders. Yes, this is a positive step. We appreciate that. But the community, as you know, they are seeing delays before. This is not a new thing for them. They are hopeful, but at the same time, I feel they are cautious. Now, here lies the challenge in all of it. Early intervention, it's always cheaper, just like we said, and more effective. Yet Nigeria's erosion control efforts are often delayed, underfunded, or even politicized. Now, in all of these, what mechanisms should be in place to ensure that government sites, government site visit like the one that engineer Imona did, it don't end at the measurement taken, but also leads to let's say immediate mobilization of equipment, funds, and contractors?
That is where here I will have to flog the government. Sorry to use this word, but I have to use this word. I have no apology. The essence of governance is to provide welfare. That is the basic essence. And government is a collectivity. People gave their will that you should rule them. By the time people withdraw their will, You don't have anybody. You are operating in a vacuum. A leader is only a leader when people submit to him. If you don't have anybody, you cannot rule. Just like a family. When you say family, is father, mother, children. You understand? So when say it's a single parent, that means there's no family. You understand? It's not yet married. Now it's a governor. People submit. Up till now, that if government have gone to see that place.
I doubt. I've not heard of it.
Then what type of government, what type of people are we? What type of environment are we? Oh, because political personality have not been affected?
It's always like that. When they want to visit, I think that we've seen stories, they will fly in their helicopters or wherever. Then
I saw the senator representing this vicinity in the market, where meanwhile this thing is going on. They say there's a project is building in the market. They want to inspect a project in the market, the Zaure market. For God's sake, a senator, a serving senator. But here come a disaster. Can you say has not been seeing it in social media? He has not gotten the report? What are we telling ourselves? So most of us are just here for lip services. Most of our government officials, even the local government, I doubt if they have seen this site.
The thing is, they won't feel it that much because they really do not have people, or they don't themselves or the family, they are not staying in that environment. So I think I have seen they are more focused on the ones that really affects them and not the ones that
not the one that affects the people.
Not the one that affects the people.
Then why are they the leader of the people?
Well,
why are they claiming to be?
This is what we really need to ask them, because this water gully is one of the issues, one of the main issues.
These are the issues that we are supposed to be singing. The national anthem they're supposed to be singing their assemblies. Is it the Edo State House of Assembly? Is it the Federal House of Assembly? Is it the Senate? We have all representatives there. Why are we like this? This is just one. Almost every community around has its own challenge. Sabo here have their own challenge. I saw one along in Ayogiri too, cutting the major road that is leading Genebode. So what are we telling ourselves? I think it's high time those who claim to be our leaders, because they are claiming, because a leader must command obedience and followership before the people. So they should brace up to their responsibility and come on and see what the people are doing, then find solution to them.
Okay, now do you really think there are really provisions or budget at the state and federal level?
There are ecological funds.
Okay.
Both federal, state, and even internationally.
I think one needs to be on deck since we have something of this nature.
There are funds for ecological disaster. In fact, it's an emergency disaster.
Oh.
That's why the NEMA and SEMA, National Emergency Agency, and the State Emergency Management Agency are all on ground.
Wow.
Is it only for them to provide food for those who are affected? You know, so I think they should brace up. They shouldn't wait. We have to do a proactive measure. That's why I said earlier on, this information was supposed to provide a stepping stone for the local government to provide information to the people, tell them what to do and what not to do. Even the type of buildings we build, where we build, and how we excavate our land. Because these days, even during the excavation, we even create more opportunity for erosion to erode our community, because we don't do the right thing while we're excavating. We don't plant trees any longer, and we don't plant grasses who can hold on the water. So these are some of the challenges.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, in past months, I think this started in April, but that should be the environmental sanitation. Now, we thank the Edo State government for that initiative. At least for just once we've really undergone that environmental sanitation, we've seen differences from how it used to be. Now, even with weak infrastructure, communities in Auchi, they have tried to take charge, clearing the blocked drains, raising local alarms, and even housing displaced neighbors in their locality. But they can only do so much. Now, meanwhile, refuse dumping, the poor building, and even unregulated land allocations worsen the problem when it comes to this water gully issue. Now, what roles, this is to the traditional rulers, I believe they are listening to us right now. What roles can traditional rulers and the community leaders, play in ensuring development in Auchi does not continue to ignore environmental consequences?
Yeah, most of them are involved in, they do a lot of, what do you call it, the community advocacy.
Okay.
And community advocacy has to do with not only do's and don'ts, they also imbibe certain informations, provide informations as been given by the government. Like this information about NiMet now was supposed to even go through the community leaders. You understand? Who we call their Daudus, tell them, the Daudus will call the nearby neighborhood leaders and tell them. So by so doing, the whole issue will be resolved amicably, because their own is, as the issues are happening at the national level, they are being informed. So immediately they inform them, they will now translate it to their people. So by the time their people get it, that's where it will tell them how it will be implemented. That's why I see there is a robust relationship between the government and the traditional rulers. So their own is to collect information from the authority, particularly the governmental district. They would now translate it down to the people, even using the local languages.
Yeah.
This information was supposed to be translated like that, fast. I wonder why at this jet age we are, information are still being minimized, are being held on to. Maybe we take all this type of information that they are not relevant. That is why we pay deaf ears to them. That is why we are still having, we are paying the consequences.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Now to our listeners, this question is for you. Should local government in Edo not, start enforcing compulsory drainage permits for any new construction, especially in erosion-prone communities in Auchi? It might be in your own locality also. So we want to hear from you. What do you have to say concerning this? Call, text, or send a WhatsApp message, or even a voice recording on 08101 269750. Now, thank you very much, Mr. Mansour, for staying with us. Now, I want to ask this vital question. When it comes to us, the people, how are these people, especially those that are not literate enough, how are they taking the information? Do you even think these people, they are getting the information? And how is it really publicized? I know you talked about the traditional rulers, liaising with this the governments, so they can pass these informations as they come in, especially when it comes to the issue of forecasting or predicting. Now, how are the people really taking this information, especially in areas where there are no sound and literate people in that environment?
Yes, that is the essence of that's why when you talk about traditional rulers, that's where they come in very well here, because all these people, they have their representative in the palace.
Okay.
So the traditional community or the traditional rulers will call for a meeting where they will announce this type of information to them and tell them the implication, and they will guide them on what to do. So that is why you say local. They are using the local dialect, they are using everything is local, and they will tell them as it is described and what the government says should be done to avoid it. So that is why you have them in the community. So if actually information dissemination system is working, definitely, because they cannot use social media. Some of them don't even have light to watch TV, but there is this man-to-man, mouth-to-mouth relationship, and this has to work. That's why you see in some community they give credence to traditional institutions.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, I think this should be the last question I'll be asking on this issue. Now, for our listeners, you want to catch us on this discussion, we can continue it on our social media, and just search for Qalam Radio. You can also visit our YouTube page where, like we said, we've posted the water gully erosion in our YouTube channel. Just search for water tanker road erosion, and you see why we are really hammering on this issue on our analysis today. Now, Mr. Mansour, what efforts? I want to talk about the efforts. What efforts is the government really doing, to make them implement this information? And how can we really say, how can we really remedy these areas that are really prone to erosion?
Yeah, I think you are not talking about way out.
Yeah, the solutions.
Those already there, where the erosion is ravaging. The one I saw, I will advise they should be evacuated.
Okay.
The government should give them a place to relocate.
Okay.
Areas where there's no erosion, they should construct drainages. Both underground and surface drainages should be constructed, and people should be advised subsequently in new sites, in new environment. They should liaise with the government. What I notice in this environment is that the community will collect money, levies, government will collect, yet they don't have town planning. There's no town planning. They could go and allocate land, excavate the land, but there's no town planning. People can just come, this is our father's land, this is our grandfather's land, we own this land. They just go and sell it to whoever. But they didn't plan it. How would people assess it? They just provide a little road that will lead to that place, no provision for drainage for both sides. This is causing all this type of erosion. Lack of planning. Or does it mean that people don't build on top of hills?
They do.
In Anambra is in a healing place. Enugu too is in a healing place. People live there, even though they have their own type of gully erosions.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other thing is that our forefathers planted cashew, planted banana trees, planted edibles. But here we are, we don't plant trees. We fall the already existing ones, no replacement. That's why you see this high level of humidity in this town now. There's any time there's no rain, you see everywhere will be hot, but there are no trees. There are no trees. So I think there's need for public awareness, enlightenment, through radio,
Like
through mobile adverts, through street announcements, town criers, telling people what to do. But the major check is to control erosion through gutters. If the government is not the one to do it, the people are to do it. When you construct your house, you construct a gutter, so you link it to your neighbor's own. Like that, like if the next person comes to construct your own, you will link it. They will not channel it.
And that's how we did in Igara too, in our streets. All right, thank you very much. Now let's bring it home. Weather warnings don't prevent floods. Action does, whether it's predictables, but disasters aren't. Now what we do with the forecast, that's what determines the outcome. Now in all of this, erosion isn't just a natural phenomenon, it is a policy failure, an urban planning oversight, and sometimes even a crisis of conscience. To the people of Watertanka Road, Oshomole Village, and Afelsomoke, we see you. Your voice must echo louder than the thunder that's about to hit. We're not talking about, we're not just saying that you should just fold your hands and watch, but we are also telling you to take charge. Now we see that the weather forecasts or the rainy seasons are here. What is it that you've outlined to solve the issues of water gully as a person, as a local government, as a state, and even at the federal level? To the government, to the local, to the state, and even the federal government. The time for feasibility studies is over. It's time to move bulldozers and not just the tape measures. Of course, I am Gift Okhagbuzo, and this has been the news analysis on today's Qalam News at noon. And thank you very much, Mr. Muhammad Mansour Ibrahim, for taking our time to discuss on this issue. I really appreciate your approach on this issue, because it's as it affects one as it affects all. I'm really grateful that you took time also to do a survey on the Watertanka Road the erosion gully. It has really been a wonderful one, learning and understanding how the NiMet and what we should do to avert crisis when it comes to erosion control in our community. Thank you very much. I truly appreciate.
Welcome.
Now, to our listeners, we want to continue this conversation on our social media. Search for Qalam Radio or use the hashtag Qalam Radio News Analysis and let us hear what you have to say concerning the issue of water gully, or how is it affecting you in your own locality. Here is where we call it a wrap for today's Qalam News Analysis. Until next time, same station. Enjoy the rest of your day and always stay informed.